Steady now, archers. Advance! There, the gate! Onward!
Welcome to Treasures from God's Word. Join us as we explore the riches of the Bible.
Before we begin, be sure to subscribe. A prophecy written 2 centuries in advance. Imagine reading a news report today that clearly described the fall of a powerful world empire, named the leader who would conquer it, explained how its defenses would fail, and even predicted that God's people would be set free afterward. Then imagine that report had been written 200 years before it happened. That is exactly what we find in the Bible. Today, our theme is a prophecy written 2 centuries in advance. And our subtheme comes from Isaiah 44:27. Babylon's rivers would be made to dry up. This is not just an interesting history lesson. It gives us practical confidence that Jehovah knows the future, keeps his promises, and can guide our lives today. Let's travel back in time. Babylon, the superpower that seemed impossible to conquer. In ancient times, Babylon was one of the most impressive cities in the world. It was the superpower of its day. The walls surrounding the city were massive, so thick that chariots could reportedly ride on top of them. The city seemed impossible to conquer. Even more impressive was the Euphrates River. It flowed through Babylon and served as part of its defense system. Anyone who wanted to invade the city would have to face that river and those huge walls. From a human standpoint, Babylon looked unbeatable. But more than a century before Babylon even reached its height, Jehovah inspired the prophet Isaiah to write something astonishing. Let's consider Isaiah 44:27. There, Jehovah said of Babylon's waters, "The one saying to the deep waters, 'Be evaporated, I will dry up all your rivers.'" Imagine hearing that prophecy when Babylon was strong and secure. It might have sounded impossible. How could the rivers of Babylon dry up? How could such a mighty city fall? Yet Jehovah had already seen the future, how the prophecy was fulfilled. In 539 BCE, a Persian ruler named Cyrus marched against Babylon. He was accompanied by the army of Media. But when Cyrus arrived, he faced a problem. Babylon was heavily fortified and protected by the Euphrates River. From a military standpoint, it looked like a difficult task. But then something remarkable happened, something that fulfilled Isaiah's prophecy. Historical records describe how Cyrus diverted the Euphrates River. He redirected the water into a nearby basin. As the river level dropped, the water inside the city became shallow enough for soldiers to walk through. Imagine the scene. Babylon's defenses depended on that river, but now the riverbed became a pathway. Persian soldiers marched through the shallow water and entered the city. Babylon fell in one night. Just as Jehovah had foretold, the rivers were dried up. A prophecy written about 2 centuries earlier was fulfilled in detail. What does that teach us? Jehovah sees what we cannot see. He knows the future, and when he promises something, it will happen. Cyrus, named in advance. But the prophecy becomes even more amazing. Isaiah did not just say Babylon would fall. He actually named the conqueror long before he was born. At Isaiah 44:28, Jehovah said, "He is saying of Cyrus, 'He is my shepherd, and he will completely carry out all my will.'" Think about that. Cyrus had not even been born yet. The Persian Empire had not yet risen to power. And still Jehovah mentioned Cyrus by name and said he would accomplish his purpose. Isaiah 45 one even calls Cyrus Jehovah's anointed one. That does not mean Cyrus worshipped Jehovah, but it means Jehovah chose him for a specific task, to conquer Babylon and free God's people. This prophecy was recorded long before Cyrus came to power. Yet when the time came, everything happened exactly as Jehovah said. What a powerful reminder that Jehovah's word is reliable. God's people are set free. Now let's consider another part of the prophecy. Isaiah foretold not only the fall of Babylon, but also what would happen afterward. God's people, the Jews, had been taken into exile. They were far from home. Jerusalem and its temple lay in ruins, but Jehovah had not forgotten them. Through Isaiah, Jehovah said that Cyrus would send his people back to rebuild Jerusalem and the temple, and that is exactly what happened. In Ezra chapter 1, we read that Cyrus issued a decree allowing the Jews to return to Jerusalem. He even returned the sacred temple utensils that had been taken from the temple years earlier. He provided support and resources for the rebuilding work. Imagine how the Jews must have felt. For decades, they had been in exile. Suddenly, a foreign king announces, "You are free to go home, rebuild your city, rebuild your temple." That was Jehovah's doing. He used Cyrus as his instrument. Again, prophecy written long in advance came true in every detail. What does this mean for us today? At this point, we might ask, why does this matter to us? We are not living in ancient Babylon. We are not in exile in a foreign land. So what lessons can we learn? Please subscribe. There are at least 3 very practical lessons. 1. Jehovah always keeps his promises. First, this account proves that Jehovah keeps his promises. Imagine being a Jewish exile in Babylon. You might have felt forgotten. You might have wondered, will we ever go home? Will Jehovah really help us? Then suddenly Babylon falls. A new ruler appears, and that ruler sends you home, just as Jehovah foretold. Jehovah's timing may sometimes seem slow from our perspective, but he never forgets his promises. Today, we also wait for Jehovah to fulfill promises. Promises about peace, justice, and a better future. When we read prophecies like this one, our faith grows stronger. We see that Jehovah's word never fails. So when we face difficulties, financial pressures, health problems, family challenges, we can remember, if Jehovah could fulfill a prophecy written 2 centuries in advance, he can certainly fulfill his promises to us. 2. Jehovah can use unexpected means. Second, Jehovah can use unexpected people and situations to accomplish his purpose. Cyrus was not an Israelite. He did not grow up worshiping Jehovah. Yet Jehovah used him as his shepherd to free his people. That teaches us something important. Jehovah is not limited. He can guide events in ways we may not expect. He can open doors that seem closed. He can solve problems in ways we never imagined. Have you ever faced a situation that seemed impossible? Maybe a job problem, a family issue, or a personal struggle? Sometimes we cannot see a solution, but Jehovah sees what we cannot see. Just as he guided events in Cyrus's time, he can guide events in our lives. That does not mean every problem disappears overnight, but it does mean we can trust that Jehovah is able to help. 3. Jehovah cares deeply about his people. Third, this prophecy shows how much Jehovah cares about his people. He did not just predict the fall of Babylon for historical interest. He did it to free his people. He wanted them back in their homeland. He wanted true worship restored. Jehovah's actions were motivated by love, and that has not changed. Today, Jehovah still cares about his people. He cares about our struggles, our fears, and our hopes. When we feel overlooked or discouraged, we can remember the Jewish exiles. Jehovah saw their situation. He acted at the right time. He will do the same for us. Strengthening our faith. When we read about prophecy fulfilled so precisely, our faith grows stronger. We realize the Bible is not just a collection of stories. It is a reliable message from a God who knows the future. Think about it. Jehovah predicted the fall of Babylon. He predicted how it would happen. He named the conqueror. He foretold the release of his people. Every detail came true. So when we read promises about the future, about a world without suffering, about peace and justice, we can trust them. Jehovah has already proven that he keeps his word. A practical application. How can we apply this personally? Perhaps you are facing a situation that feels overwhelming. Maybe you feel stuck. like the Jews in exile. Maybe you wonder how things will work out. When you feel that way, remember this prophecy. Jehovah knew what would happen centuries in advance. He prepared a solution before the problem even fully developed. He can do the same in our lives. Instead of worrying constantly about the future, we can focus on staying close to Jehovah. We can pray. We can trust Him. We can keep doing what is right. And we can be confident that Jehovah is guiding matters, even when we cannot see how. A strong conclusion. Let's return to our theme, a prophecy written 2 centuries in advance. Imagine living in Isaiah's time and hearing that Babylon would fall and that a man named Cyrus would set God's people free. It might have sounded unbelievable, yet it happened exactly as foretold. That prophecy stands as powerful evidence that Jehovah knows the future and directs events to accomplish His purpose. What does that mean for us? It means we can trust Him completely. When Jehovah promises something, it will happen. When He says He will care for His people, He will do it. When He assures us of a better future, we can believe it. So the next time you face uncertainty, remember Babylon. Remember the dried up river. Remember Cyrus. And remember that Jehovah had everything under control long before anyone else saw the solution. May that strengthen our faith. May it give us confidence. And may it move us to keep trusting Jehovah. Because the God who fulfilled prophecy centuries in advance is still guiding matters today. And He will never fail those who rely on Him.